What's up, y'all? This has been crazy. It's my first time starting to go live like this, and not like I don't know how Blaze does it, and I'm all freaking out. And Blaze is like, Blaze is typing to me like, Rob, you haven't started the live. You got to do this. You got to put you got to put the countdown, and you didn't put a link. And I'm like, oh Lord. So sorry for the chaos. I'm just this guy. I'm new to this, but I'll get the hang of it. So, to other people that know me already from Hot Trades, right? I want to start doing some lives on Sundays. I was trying to do it like maybe at the open, but I wanted to give it some time. Um, Sometimes the open of futures is a bit boring, but obviously with all the craziness of the Iran war and all that, it's yeah, thanks, Torn. It's it's been chaos, so I kind of wanted to start doing these futures calls on Sundays, and then hopefully I'll continue to do it during the week in the evenings for now, since Blaze is during the day with stocks. So for the people that have never been here and don't know about Hot Trades, Hot Trades, our fearless leader is Blaze. He's on every day, Monday through Friday, at the market open from 9 all the way to like maybe 4 or 5 hours during the day, talking about stocks. And I'm always in the background. I'm the creator of the Bull Bear Algo. You're gonna see it on the charts and stuff. But anyways, with that being said, I just wanted to come on and start doing this a bit. Let me say hi to everyone. Your golden dude, thanks. Thorn, thanks. Don't even worry about it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm new to this, so I'm just trying to. I have the meta glasses, so every every 5 minutes, every second that Blaze was writing to me, it was coming through my glasses, and I was getting all stressed out. I'm like, oh Lord. But yeah. So if you let's go to the charts. Let's see what we have here. Equities open gap down. Gap down. I think that for our stocks traders as well, what's important about seeing futures is that it's going to let us know more or less maybe how the market is going to open up the next day, right? So it's a really good indicator of how the market is, what the market is doing or looking at. I know that there's now overnight trading and stuff on Webull and some other platforms, but futures is like what dictates a lot on in the evenings and on Sunday. It opens up on Sundays. Um, Futures opens at on Sundays at 6:30, and then they go all the way around the clock Monday through Friday. They stop at 5 p.m. to do some accounting, and then at 6 again it opens again, the futures market, and it continues to the next day, right? So with that being said, it's a bit, it's we have in chaos. I think Trump had said that they had surrendered or something like that, but it really wasn't true. Now every time he says something, they come back and say something else. So the market is all over the place. So if you see equities open, this is the S&P 500 derivative. It gapped down. It gapped down. It opened up at 6,693, and then it dropped and found a little bottom here, right around I would say 6,612 is the low. It's created that pivot, and if you see, it's consolidating there. So that's good for now. The market is just opened up a bit down because of the fear, but it's finding a bottom. If we look at oil obviously did the opposite, right? Oil is now at 80. It closed around 89, gapped up, and now it opened up and went all the way to, wow, this is crazy, 111, and then now it's just consolidating up here around 105. The pivot is at 105. So it's been interesting. Oil has been a while. Oil hasn't been around over $100. So actually, I wanted to see. Let's look at the daily time frame and see what oil has done in the past. I'm thinking that maybe even do a weekly. Let me take this out of here. This is probably some. Yeah. So gold at some. Oil. Look at me. Sorry. Gold has gone to 130. You see here, this is a supply zone. So at some point before, it also has been to 150. So I would say almost 150, 147.27 might be the all-time high for oil. So that's crazy. We're almost there. It could happen again. That was around when? July of 08. So July 14 of 08, it went all the way up to almost 150. So it's possible, but look at what happened after. Look at what happened after. It went all the way up, and then it just really, it even went even lower than the previous low, right? So it crashed down there, went all the way to 30 something, which is wild, in less than about a month. And then it just, found a base around, I would say, the 70s, 60s, around there. Over here, it dropped again, and then it stood around. Yeah, that's where where I used to trade away. Actually, it was a big dip here. Look at this around. Wow, negative. That's crazy. That has to be something else. And yeah, so oil's the place to be right now in futures. This is showing us that maybe this week, obviously, those oil stocks and ETFs and inverse ETFs and all that. I mean, and leveraged ETFs might be moving this week. So you're gonna have to start looking for those. If you in the Discord channel, look in the Discord channel. I'm pretty sure there's been posting some good oil stocks to trade. Let's go back to the. I like to go back to the 5 minute just to see what it's doing. It's moving slow again, and then let's go to our equities market. Yep, this is for me. When I start when I look at the open on Sundays, I kind of like to look at it most of the time. It's usually starts moving around 8, 9 o'clock, definitely, because the Asian market starts kicking in, and the Australian market. So now it's kind of slow, but you'll see that most likely around 8:30, 9 o'clock, things start picking up. If they don't, then I probably don't trade it, right? I probably don't trade it unless I'm gonna do a swing trade. I will tell you this much: if I'm gonna do a swing trade, uh, maybe overnight trade, I should say. If I see this pivot here and I keep seeing this, I might just take, if it dips again around here, I might take a long here and just put a very tight stop loss underneath the pivot, or maybe even go to a major like a 6600. Sorry, a 60. That's the kernel is crossing bullish there. So a 6600, and I might put my stop there and then just let it ride and see what happens. See what happens. Let's look. This is the 1 hour chart here. So in the 1 hour chart, if you look in a longer time frame, we got a down. We got this little small downtrend here. Buyers are kind of like a little stronger. MACD is negative. RSI is pretty much oversold. So kernel's bullish. So bearish. So right now, any pumps, might be met with a with selling, right? So every time there's a downtrend, you always go down. I look at the longer time frame. Let's plot out here this gap. So this is a gap here. There goes our gap right there. Okay. So we got our gap there. Should be right there. There it is. So now we got our gap here. So obviously, when we have a gap, what do we look at? We look for that trade to fill in the gap, or in this case, it could fill in the gap, and then, or if you see this 200 falling inside this gap, at any moment, it could probably come up here and then reverse there, right? So most of the time, when there's a trade like this, I could probably do something like that. 1 second. Sorry, guys. It can, go up, and then most likely I like to watch, previous pivots. Blaze, stop freaking writing to me. Blaze is bothering me. He's trying to psych me out. I'm taking off my glasses, Blaze. All right. So I like to watch usually big drops like this on downtrends. Always look to sell the pumps, right, until it breaks the trend, or try to get this trade back up to a major area like a pivot, right? So if I open this a bit more, I see any dip here that's finding support will be a good long if you want to scalp right back to the top of the range, or even to this pivot right there. If we see a strong move above the pivot, then we know that they're going to start targeting higher to maybe go back and fill in this imbalance. Let me see. Yeah. Sid, now it's his turn to bother me, right? I do it to him a lot, so I guess I gotta now deal with it. I'm gonna have to deal with the pressure he's putting on me. Yeah, most likely. Well, I mean, it did gap down now, so now we got to see if the pop Yeah, we got to see. That's why I said if it goes back up, we got to find usually pumps. When you're in a downtrend, it's better. The trend is your friend, right? So you want to sell. You want to sell the pumps in futures. Remember, when I say selling in futures, you can either sell or buy. It's not considered like a short, like it is in equities. It's more like in futures, you could actually sell a contract or buy a contract without owning the particular, because it's not an equity, right? It's just a contract that you can buy or sell. So they allow you to buy and sell. Usually, well, if you're trading through a prop firm, you have a bit of leverage there, and then it's easier to just sell and buy. So usually you can sell those. You could sell the pumps, right? Or if you find a range, which there is kind of like one right here, you could literally just do this. I know some people like in hot trades, like let's say a Dan loves price action that is very just like come up and down and up and down, and he's very good at trading that. Sometimes he trade a tick chart, so you could literally trade this range like just like this. You could trade it up and down until it breaks it, right? Until it breaks it. So that's enough in future. See, now it's dropping again. Most likely, if it comes anywhere around this area, you can go long again and take it right back up. And see, now if it breaks down, then you get out because most likely it wants to go lower. Now, what are the lower targets that we have? That's also important to watch. So let's go to the let's zoom this out. Let me open it up. And let's zoom this out, see if we find anything here. Maybe I can go to the 1 hour chart, see if we find anything interesting. There it is. There goes some demand zones here. This is a stronger demand zone because it's darker. This is a little bit lighter. So if the sell-off is strong, it can literally break this easy. But these are major areas, right? The 6,500 or 6,500 is a big area. Then we got the 6,400 and 6,436. So anywhere along this line will be, if it's dropping, you're gonna want to try to scalp down till you get to these areas, right? How are you guys trading now? How? No, I'm not trading. I'm basically showing the charts. If I find maybe something that that I want to trade, I'll probably do it. But for now, I just want to talk about the futures markets, what's happening, how maybe the war will affect, how these things affect the markets, right? And why it's important sometimes to watch the futures market overnight or during the weekend, because you're gonna more or less have a good gist of what might happen in the morning, right? So right now, definitely we can say that the S&P 500 and the NQ, the Nasdaq, sorry, will most likely open up gap down unless overnight there's a pump back up to fill this gap and it comes back into that range. And now most likely the SPY will open up again where it closed, right? So that's what you have to watch. There's been paper trading futures. Just took one contract on NQ short before open. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you can trade this. Who was that? Cultivating trader. You can trade right now this move, right? So let me just open this up and let me go back to the 3 minute. That's my entry chart. I like to trade off of the 3 minute, not really the 1 minute. If we see here, this is the VWAP here. So it's been hitting the VWAP and then rejecting. Here is a trend line. So there's trend line liquidity here. There's liquidity here. So every time it comes into this trend line, it's most likely going to find some sellers until it breaks out. So right now we know that this VWAP and this trend line is very strong, and we have to respect it, right? We have to respect it until it doesn't happen anymore. So now you can either the only thing is that we're at the bottom, so I don't like selling at the bottom, obviously, unless I see a stronger move with an impulse. Right now, the RSI is around 41. If you look up here, you see the algo bar at the top right. Actually, let me remove the bull bear. There it is. So at the top right, you're gonna see the algo bar, and the algo bar is telling us right now that the MACD is over the signal line, but it's still negative, and the RSI is getting a little bit stronger. That's why I'm saying it's bullish, because the MACD is turning around a bit, and the RSI is picking up some strength. So that's what usually happens during a consolidation period, right? When it's consolidating, you're gonna see more of the RSI and the MACD kind of like think about it like it has to catch up, right? So now it's just going sideways, and every time it goes sideways, little by little, it's giving some more strength, to the buyers. Let me go back to the chat. I've been looking for, let me go, sorry, let me go back up a little bit, guys. Is the 1 minute still usable with futures? It is. 1 minute is usable. I don't like it because I like to give, my type of trading is that I like to give myself a little time because it could really fake you out. NQ definitely. NQ is crazy. Oil, gold is crazy. Silver is crazy. So those things can literally, like one candle can just come drop and go right back up and just smack you, right? So I like the 3 minute because the 3 minute will give you a little bit of more time to understand what's happening between that, that 1 minute and 3 minute candle, right? So then there it gives me some time. Like you see here, it keeps showing us that it's like it's going up, but then finding some sellers and goes down, makes a little lower low. It keeps making the lower low, keeps making the lower low. So that's what we have to watch. But while it's doing that, it's not really going that low. So then what's happening? Look, it's giving time. If you look above, you got some sellers overtaking buyers. The MACD is getting stronger and the RSI is getting stronger. Once it gets to 50 and above, now we know that there's a little more momentum on the buy side, and this can start picking up some steam, which I have a feeling it might do near 9 o'clock. Weibo has 24-hour market, but lower liquidity. Definitely. Exactly. Yes, it does. And those are more for equities, Sid. So, you're going to find some equities that you're able to trade on the 24-hour market, but it's definitely going to be a liquid. What is this? Been paper trading futures? Oh, I read this already. Sorry. Exactly, guys. Please like and subscribe. I've been looking at several channels, and everyone seems to be gearing up to buy oil short term. Yes. So let's talk about that a bit. We have to be careful, right? Because especially in the Discord, we've had a lot of people ask us either in the DMs or either on the actual channel, like how would we trade the news, right? How do you trade, the Iran war and all that? I was telling people, we got a message there, Brent and WTI, defy gravity, yep, heading towards the 2022 highs, which we just saw, right, when we went back. So we got to look at what history tells us, right? It's not only about just hopping in on the bandwagon, right? Because how many times have we seen stocks beat earnings and then just drop, right? So here we got sellers coming in. So now here it's getting weak. Let's see what oil is doing. Oil is still kind of like more or less. Let's see what it's going to do at this pivot here. Okay. If it breaks this pivot, then it's most likely breaking an area of structure, or we might be going lower. So let's see. Okay. So as I was saying, I think that we have to be very careful. It's very easy to hop on the bandwagon and just try to start buying up oil or any oil stocks or something like that. But we got to be careful because look what happened in the overnight market. Sometimes this moves, and it doesn't give time to regular traders to get in and retail traders to get in and take care of the move. Then what happens during the morning at the open? What Blaze always says, let's wait for the open, let it play out and see what happens, because what can happen in the morning, it can be pre-market, it could be pumping, or it could be gapped up, and then all of a sudden at the open, people take their profits and it drops again, right? So the market is always going to, always look at, I guess what I want to say is you want to look at what the chart is doing. Trade the chart, see what's in front of you first, right? And see what it's done in the past. Believe it or not, in the past, every time there's been a war, the market actually has pumped. Believe it or not, I'll find some details next time and I'll put it on either in the Discord or on the next live, and I'll show you. In the past, there has been a lot of the wars. You have like a small dip because of the news. There's fear, and then it just takes off again because the market just doesn't like uncertainty. Once it knows what's happening, Iran war happened, right? So they go in and they attack. They don't know if we're going to get our asses handed to us, right? But then all of a sudden they realize they killed Khamenei, they do all this other stuff, and now they're feeling a little more secure. Okay, the U.S. may have this under control. Markets go back up again and everything is back to normal, right? Oil, they're blocking the Strait of Hormuz. This is going to affect oil, right? It's going to affect the price, so people get worried and they automatically start buying it up because there's less supply, right? So when there's less supply, more demand, the price is going to go higher. But we have to see what it's doing. You always have to trade the chart because news is going to make it move, but then it's going to follow again, technicals. What was Just checking market before going to bed. It was a weekend, but oh, no. Yeah, War Machine. Don't mess with me too much, please. Any updates on what Iran is doing? Let's check. Yeah, we can go to the news in a few. Let me go to the news in a few and see what I find. We could even watch the news a bit. Thanks, Spike's a good dump. Yep, it did. Hey, Rob, miss you always. Hope you're. Nah, thanks, James. Jameson. Yeah, man, I'm here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Um, yeah, right now I would say so. I have a little thing here. Let me see. So right now, if you see the ES at 6621 is the same as SPY 672. So I'll leave this up so you guys so you can guys kind of see the difference between the ES and the SPY and where right now SPY is gonna most likely be. So right now it's around 672 the SPY, which we know that 670 is a key level. So this could literally drop a little more to that I would say 6550 near 670. Something that we do here, and I'm little by little, I'm going to start introducing that into the channel is how we trade futures. We trade futures using obviously the algo, but then we also we watch futures options because the futures options levels, depending where there's higher options volume, we're going to find most likely areas of support and resistance. So we plot those out, and I'll start plotting those out in the future here. I just want to play around today for the first time here and find me Blaze. Yeah. So it looks like the market is definitely weak, and oil is just hanging up there. Let's see what gold is doing. So gold looks like people are moving from oil maybe to gold. Remember, the money does not just disappear. It moves from one place to another, right? So it can move from equities to cash meaning bonds, from bonds back to equities, which is risk on. In futures, it can move from let's say metals, to oil. So this could be what's happening, right? That people are taking their profits from gold, and they're moving, probably into that oil play, right? Let's check silver. This is silver futures, same. Usually they correlate. So right now, futures silver is around $81. It went up to around 85. This is a nice area where silver has been finding support. If you notice there, it's finding some support around 80. So anything below 80 is going to be most likely a dip back to 70, 72, 70-ish. And then there's been a lot of supply up here on $87 for silver. Back to silver. Let me go. Oil. Do you have any? If ING stands for liquefied natural gas. Yes. VG is an LNG play. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on copper? Yes, actually, that's a really good question. I heard I believe too. I believe so too, because remember, it's a bit cheaper. So copper's still cheap, and copper is also the next the best conductor of electricity is, I think, is then gold and then silver and then copper. So copper is also a good conductor of electricity. So copper is very important too. Let's check copper, and it's cheaper, right? So since it's cheaper, people also can go there and trade that a bit. And I think it's actually a really good play. If we can find some good copper mining and some other copper stocks, that would be good, because I think that's the next one to move. Copper's the next silver. Let's say that. To me, copper's the next silver. Copper was, I keep forgetting the HG. So it was less than $10 maybe. Yeah, look at it. It's a 560. It did drop. Actually, copper dropped. Yeah, well, it's moving along. It's metals. when metals move, copper is going to move, right? So these are good times to buy, actually, to get back into, silver, gold, maybe copper. It's a good time because you're getting some, some discounts, because once this oil play is done, most likely, oil is going to go back to doing the same thing, just going sideways. Remember, Trump always he wants oil cheaper because of, gas prices. So he's not gonna like that oil. That oil is pretty much up. So he's gonna do whatever it takes to try to get that oil prices down again, so gas can go down again, right? Also, oil is a very it's a big indicator of inflation, right? So when you have oil is high, guess what? All these industries that use oil, they're going to have to, buy higher. They're going to have to buy it for higher prices, meaning that they're going to raise the prices to you, meaning that we have to buy gas because we still need it, and we need all these other, supplies. We're going to have to buy it at a higher price, meaning that we're eating up the inflation, right? And the inflation goes higher. So it's not good. That oil is up is actually not a good thing. It affects inflation, and then now, that'll affect the whole market, right? So we gotta see what's gonna happen in the week with oil. But that was a good question. Copper is definitely good to watch, and it's cheaper, so it's a good play. 8:30, it's moving down back to that pivot, that low there, that low near the open. So let's see what it does there at 6,612. Have you been long in what, Rob? In oil, you mean? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like once it happened, if you got into the oil play somehow and waited a bit, you just got to put those time. I always tell people, you can take your trades. You don't have to be afraid. You can take an educated, I think, what was the Blaze calls it, an educated FOMO. You could take educated FOMO, but what does that mean? You take that trade, but you put that tight stop loss, right? Because if it does work out, then guess what? It's great. If it doesn't, then that means that trade didn't work out. And fine, you're gonna get stopped out, right? So you're just getting a stopped out break even, a little, or just a little loss, and that's it. But at least you tried. You didn't let it break out, and then you said, "Oh man, I never got into this trade. Right now, I wish I would have gotten into it." You can get into trades. Look at how they bought it up there on near the bottom. You see? So right there was bought up again. We're at 8:30. So there's definitely here. We got some liquidity in there, right? We got some liquidity here. So every time you get in here, you can try to take that long. Yeah, yeah, it's used in a lot of things, definitely. Let's see what I find on the news. A lot of crap though you find. Let me go to oil surges above 100 a barrel. Trump says small price to pay for defeating Iran. Okay. All right, Trump. Dow futures tumble 800 points as US. Yep. Yeah. Nothing too much, nothing crazy here that I can say that is something new. If I find something interesting, I'll share it. Like I'll share the screen. They say they found some new supreme leader. They don't want to say much about it, just in case. But We'll see. How many of you guys think this is gonna be settled quick, or do you think it's going to span out a couple of months? This war. Anybody got any? Let me see. I could probably do it. I'm looking for. We can do polls, right, Blaze? Somewhere. I'll find it. There was a place to do polls. Not sure if I can do it from here though. Guys, share on social media, X on YouTube, like it, please. See what, oh, here we go. I love it. It's moving. Yeah, definitely, Sid. Definitely. They're not going to leave. They're not going to, they're not going to give up. I think Trump played himself. That's Blaze. Israel stock market at all-time highs. Yep. Attacks will be done in a week. You think the leadership political side will take a bit? Okay. Like what's the nice? So you see, it's finding support, which is good. It's finding some support. We got to see these measures now. We're breaking out through this trend line here. So let's see what happens. You see, it has to break a trend line with when I see a trend line broken with impulse. That's important because that means that sellers are trying to, those breakout traders are getting in here and trying to break it out. So that's always important. This is like straight up game. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy, man. All we can do is see how we can, take advantage of these things. It's sad, but we have to just prepare ourselves. If you have long, if you're in certain stocks that are that could be affected by a drop in the market, that's always important to maybe move it. Move your money to cash or do something else, and then protect yourself. And then on big dips, those are buying opportunities. So you want to have cash. Israel is like the little brother. USA is like the older brother that comes to help. Yeah, but that's the issue that's happening a lot too. That there it goes. It's moving with impulse. You see that? That's a good sign when it's moving with impulse because it's breaking. Now we have to see what's gonna do right here at the VWAP. Then definitely we're gonna find some sellers right here around 66.45, or we might even find here. So if anybody's trading this, if you wanna, you right here. If you see it wicking down, you could take a quick short and take this, or wait for it to kind of like wick up higher, and then you could try to take a short around 66.44, and just take that scalp down, right? Then if we go to the 1 hour, that I have it here on the left hand side. That's the kernel going bullish. Oil is starting to move as well now, doing the same. Let's see if oil can break this double top. That'll be incredible. This thing starts breaking out. Look at that pivot. Previous pivot. It's finding some resistance here. It has to. This is going to be strong. If it can't break this, we're going to go right back down again because you know what? Sellers are going to be afraid. They're going to take their profit and get out here, and it'll drop again. Yeah. So what I was going to say about the big brother, small brother? That's what they're saying. That people are getting upset because they're saying that they might be the little brother, but we're listening to them, right? We're influenced really strong from them, and that's I don't want to get into that, but it's a big pain. I do think Cuba's next. Yep. I don't. I think they're gonna come on their own accord because they're just being starved out. They've been 60 days without energy or light. That's terrible. Yeah, exactly, Thorn. Something like that. See that? There goes the sellers. They couldn't overtake it. So what do people do? They get out. That's what I would have done. If I don't see it strong, I try to get out. Or it could just come down here, retest this here, and then bounce. But if you ask me, it's still not. We'll see. We have here still the RSI is under 50. MACD did cross positive, bullish, so it's little by little. That's normal in consolidation. The war won't be short. Maybe a couple months more. And that might be another thing, Shop, that if the market starts realizing that, then they're gonna start pricing in certain things, right? Oil going up, gas prices going up, inflation going up. The Fed now has to react to that, right? So all those things, the market has to start pricing in, which means that there might be a correction in the market drop. Or if we hear some crazy news that everything is just getting better, then we'll have a nice strong rebound to new highs. That's Saudi Arabia. Yeah, because so what I heard was what I was seeing is that the Saudi Arabia. So what did they do? They stopped attacking. They stopped attacking the their neighbors, right? Which is Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and all those. And they kind of said, look, the U.S. is not helping you guys. You guys are supposedly on their side, but they haven't helped you. So it's like a mind game too, right? It's politics. They want to get us, they want to get us to fight each other. Hims is frozen till the morning. Robin Hood's overnight trading went through. Yeah, Hims is going to be interesting tomorrow. Actually, Hims is going to be very interesting tomorrow. There's a lot of people interested in him. That's why I kind of like feel a bit. You got to be careful because when everybody wants something, that's when you got to see. What I mean? You just can't. All right. Let's see. Ooh, sorry, guys. There goes the reversal again. So you see, we have a nice little range here. Most likely, again, it'll come back down, test this area down here, and reverse again. So one side has to give in, right? Either it's gonna, buyers are gonna overtake the sellers, or the sellers are just gonna, buyers are gonna get exhausted, and then the sellers will just break it down. Iran and Venezuela are both attacks on China's oil suppliers. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's definitely a strategy there, Jay. There's definitely a strategy there. We'll see it little by little. What's going on. But there's always something behind the scenes, right? That they're trying to do. Squeeze out maybe China. Exactly. They sure have squeezed out China from Cuba, Venezuela, from all that area. So they're trying to what they said, secure that the hemisphere. No, Iran. Well, we got to see. So here on the 1 hour, let me see something here again. Let's look left. Let's go to 4 hour. The big, okay, now we're talking 4 hour. We have some liquidity here on 65.50 to 65.25. So I could definitely see this make a move for this low here, which is a November low here, which was matched with October almost. So this is a pretty good level, actually. This level here it would be a nice level to come down and test it again, retest it. And if it breaks down, then we know we're definitely going, to this stronger area here. But that could be a target right down here. which means that, SPY's going lower, which means that most likely they'll use the Max 7 to take it lower. See what I mean? You see how you have to look at the market a bit as a whole? How can you take this market down quick and without affecting a lot? Is hitting those, the tech sector, right, which is heavily weighted on the Nasdaq and the S&P. And we know that AI, the AI bubble is bursting little by little. So we have the RSI got weaker actually. MACD went back again negative. So let's see if it breaks down this low. I want to see what happens in 15 minutes at 9. I need some music, Blaze. I need some music. I want water too. Let's see. Japan, South Korea stocks tumbled over 6% as oil tops 100 and broader Asian market rout. Yeah, South Korea market tanked a lot, actually. I think they call it the Kospi. There goes oil making a move. See what's going to happen at the double top. There's some bullish momentum, means that there's high volume there. Some more volume coming in, unusual volume actually. So it's moving up. Let's see what happens at this double top. Malo, what's up? Yeah, definitely looking weak. I would love for move down here to 540 for it to just drop. I would much rather have the market move overnight, in futures and gap down. So then during the day, the New York session, when the market's open, then we have a nice range, right, to trade up on, because it already made a low or try to find a base. So that's what I like about it, because a gap down will always, give us a better, the odds are higher for it to kind of like, retrace a bit, right, and fill in that imbalance that it creates when it's dropping hard. Just waiting for the drop to finish, then ride the bounce. There you go, model. That's exactly what I was saying. Yep, that's exactly it. And that's the thing, guys. You gotta sit back sometimes and watch the market overall, and then it's much better than FOMOing. It's much better to let it play out and then trade the other side, because you're already anticipating, right? You're anticipating where it's going, where it might bounce, right? So it's you feel a little bit more calmer getting in that trade. And like I said, if you want to take the trade, if you want to take that FOMO trade, you can, but you got to remember, if you're wrong, and you get out. There goes finding again support here. Here we go. Where's Blaze getting his beauty? Yeah, Blaze is around. He's watching me. He's not. He's chaperoning. He's looking, like me from afar to see if I'm gonna f it up or not. I know him. He's just watching me like a hawk. He wants to see if I'm gonna f this up. He's just watching me from afar. Oil's making the move. On its way up. 111.24 is the top pivot. Can you give me water, please? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah. See what's gonna do at 9. So right here's the demand, the 4-hour demand zone here. I'm what I give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Oil needs to balance out all my tech and crypto. Yeah, tell me about it. I know. I mean, just remember the market is always going to do what it's going to do, but then these big players don't want to. They don't lose. They never lose. So we just got to trade the, like I said, trade the market. Trade it smart. Sometimes if you have to stay away from it a bit and wait for it to drop, like model said, and then take advantage of that drop. That's the best thing to do. If you're an intraday trader, like some of us are, then you can trade those levels. But then you gotta have your good levels, right? Your support and resistance levels, those areas where those nice targets, right? And have a target, which you're gonna get here. Let's go back up. There it is again. Finding some support there. I'm looking to because I got three screens and my chart is on the right hand side, so I could see you guys. Just to balance out. I don't know how Blaze does it with one. I don't know if Blaze you're there. If you only have one screen or you got two screens. Let's go full electric everything at OS and 20. Or you is gonna try to double top that or hit that pivot again and see what happens there. What's up, Dan? Are you back or are you still over there? You still traveling? Oh my god, I could imagine. I could imagine the jet lag you have. How, you been back only a day or two, or you're trying to get, or you trying to or you just like out of it? Got back last night. Yeah. Sheesh, you're gonna be. You know what I used to do when I would travel? You know what I would do when I had those trips like that? I would literally just take a. You just need to take a sleeping pill. You take a sleeping pill and just let get knocked out at the time that you want to start getting used to sleeping again. Your usual, and that'll help you. You know, I don't like taking pills, but that'll help you honestly. Take a pill 1 or 2 nights, and to get your body again used to it. That always help. Yeah, and the time changed too. Dang it. All right, here we go. You notice that we're gonna most likely double bottom here and double top here. So if this breaks down, most likely oil is gonna break out. Yeah, we might. It might. We have a nice level here around 657. Let me see if my levels came in. Hold on. Let me see something while you guys here. All right. So we got this. All right. Here goes our options levels about to be plotted. Bam. Okay, we got a put block at 6,600. Will we do anything below? We're pretty far down. Yeah, we're pretty far down. So, okay. So this is what I think. This is what I believe might happen. We might hit this put block here. At this 6,600 is a strong level, right? It's a what they call a century figure, right? It's 600. It could find some support here, or even go, like I said, down to 6570. And I think this is will be a nice area to go right back up into range. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you see a lower PDVR, which is a lower prior day volume range, and an upper, this is the range of volume traded, right? The highest volume. So in this particular and here, what's happening is that you're going to have most trading is going to happen between this range. So most of the time, when you're below, when you're so far below like this, most likely it's going to want to trade back into the range. Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna most likely want to find it's gonna find some want to get back into range. Why? Because this is where the volume is. Remember, the market is algorithmic. It's gonna find it's wants to go where there's liquidity. Mean reversion is similar to mean reversion. Actually, that's what mean reversion is. It wants to revert back to where there's balance, where there's volume to trade at. Okay, very good, James. It's gonna want to find that. That's actually what a mean reversion is. It's like going back to the mean, right? To the middle, where most of the volume is at. The market's always going to look for volume. Volume moves the market because that's where liquidity is, and they needs to provide liquidity. So I believe that it's going to find a bottom near here, and then it's going to want to trade back up to this range. That it might stay overnight down here, and then in the morning we have a nice trade back up again, which might be a nice trade for equities to to trade it back up. We'll see. Aloha then. Yeah. The food is good. Yeah. So on the 15 minute, it's looking iffy. We got 5 minutes to 9. We're right there at that topping that bottom. Let's see what happens. Well, where's the 15-minute demand zone? Right here. So I'm gonna plot a little line here so we see it on the lower time frame. So I'm just gonna do this right at the top of there. We're gonna call this 15-minute demand, right? And now we'll just go back to our lower time frame. And there it is. So now we'll see if it breaks this, then we know most likely it's gonna look for some support there. There goes our gap here. See here, we have a high volume of puts. So we have high volume puts, but we're below it. So anytime we're below a high volume put is usually very bearish. But the market wants to always want to go back up there. All these levels, we can provide them in hot trades. Like if you get into the hot trades Discord, we're going to be able to provide them. You're going to see them on the stream. But then, if you ever want to get them like on the daily, I provide them daily on the hot trades Discord, and for futures and for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq. Yeah, I think so too, Jay. I think so too. You know what I'm gonna have to do though, right? You know what I'm gonna have to do. If you guys are on the lives during the day, he has some nice little videos making fun of me, right? So guess what? It's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to do the same because this is my stream now. So he's gonna have to now deal with me. Now I'm gonna have to make some AI videos of him. Exactly. When the market opens, don't all of the stop losses hit and we drop? Like there is no stop losses on. You can't put a stop loss in the pre-market. Remember when the market is closed, because that's what they call a market order and a limit order, right? So you could only have limit orders. You can't have no market orders can be done. We're going Game of Thrones on Blaze. Yep, Blaze gonna get it. I just gotta find something good. There has to be some already made that I could save here. But for now, I'll find something. Or if somebody wants to make one for me and send it to me, that'll be amazing. Running away from Russian women. All right, 3 minutes. Oh, this is cool. Where we at? People. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you can sit. It's good till cancel. So that's that GTC order, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can. So it's that you put good to cancel. So it'll stay there, and if the market opens and it hits, then it hits. Exactly. Yeah. That's called good to cancel. All right, 9 o'clock. So boring 9 o'clock. You're gonna see in the week how 9 is very special. So I've talked about this on the Discord too. Time, there's something called time. time theory, I think it's called. And it's very interesting. There's certain times of in the market. There's certain times of day and in the night, overnight sessions and all that, where the market moves differently or does certain things. 1:30 during the market open, during the market while it's open at 1:30 is a very key level that I watch. Where it's at, where that candle opens, and where it leaves like it usually becomes support and resistance. Midnight, overnight is important. 9 o'clock, I've noticed there's some volume that comes in, and I was actually wondering why. And I could, so I have some orders that I do like weekly orders and bi-weekly orders on Webull. And if you notice, if you ever have those recurring orders, you're gonna notice that those orders they always put them on Fridays at 1:30. So that's interesting because at 1:30 is the time where the market usually finds like a some support or resistance or a direction, and that's the time usually where they're executing all those orders that are put in, right, those recurring orders. So that's interesting. So most likely maybe something's happening like that in the Asia market or something. Maybe if we all thrust at the same time, I think Rob should have to do the thrust dance like a Native American rain dance. Make it rain, Rob. Yeah, it's cool though. Like I like it. The evenings is cool. It's relaxed, and you're gonna see in the week it's gonna be better, you know. But it's nice to see on the open of the weekend because they're on the Sunday because then you can tell more or less what the market is thinking, right? What they're thinking about. What time zone? Well, I'm in the Eastern time zone, so yeah, that's a good question on the EST. So you just find the equivalent for you. 1:30 EST, 12 midnight. There's 12 midnight. There's 9 o'clock. I believe there's a 10. They're called those candles. They're called root candles. The root candle at 10:30 at 1:30, and they usually mark them, and you're gonna realize that you're gonna see how the market finds like sometimes a balance. Either a support or resistance there, especially when they line up. And sometimes you can have like a trade from time to time, right? So it'll be from 12 to if midnight was like up here and then 1:30 left, was left here. The next day maybe it might trade in between that. So it's interesting. You look it up. It's called time theory. Yes, 1:30 in the afternoon during the market when the market is open. And if you want to look it up, it's called time theory. There's something time trading theory or something like that. But it's very interesting. And I believe actually, and I believe in it a lot. If you see it here, I have it plotted here. 1:30 New York session. Look at it right there. And then at midnight, it'll play. This was the midnight from on Friday. Sorry, Thursday midnight. Right there, the midnight open of the candle is right here. So look at how it lines up with other levels, right? Look, it opens up with the top of the range there. Okay, so those are nice areas to look at. So we'll see now where it's gonna leave the midnight digital time theory. There you go. See, so sorry, digital time theory. There it is. DTT, correct. We have it. We have a PDF on in Discord on it, and it shows you everything. I look. I don't. I look at what I find patterns. We should always find patterns, and where we can gain an edge. For me, there's an edge looking at the 1:30 and the midnight, and that's enough for me. I don't need to see all the other. If you're gonna see the digital time theory has a lot of different times. You might find one that you like. You might find one that you might find a pattern. Use that one. I always tell people you can trade so many different strategies, and they all work. You just got to focus on it. Always look, wait for that setup, and then take it. Yeah, great. Yeah. So, what do you think about it, T? Just go back and anything we say, or we say, just go back and you can go into TradingView and just go back in the past and back test it, right, and see how it works. Obviously they work with these bigger liquid stocks, right? Like they're gonna work with the spies, obviously with and because these also obviously they're not trading at midnight. It will be interesting to see what it does. The overnight session now, the 24-hour trading. It will be interesting where the stock leaves that 12 midnight candle. and then see how that works. Actually, that'll be a kind of interesting to see. Now that we have the 24-hour market, but they definitely work with SPY, NQ, gold, silver, oil, which we're not looking at. Sorry. Yeah, look at that. Oil tried to test that high, went up to 109, then dipped again. So it looks like we might find a nice little balance here. Here, it found a nice little demand zone, which it plotted out nicely, the algo. You know that if it ever breaks down this, what's going to happen? You have these levels, right? These are things that we teach, right? We come here. What are you looking at if it breaks down? You know that the EMAs that are, you look left. This is an EMA here, so we see what happens there. If it breaks down, guess what? It's coming down to that gap. We have a nice trend line liquidity there. Let's see what happens here. If it doesn't, then it's going to want to go fill that gap, right? 200 EMAs right there. So these are things to watch on the way down. But most definitely, if it breaks down the demand zone, it's going to want to try to go fill that gap. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to see if it lines up with other levels. That's great because now you have confluence. That's the way to do it. Here we go. Here we go. It's getting weak. Oh, sorry. It's getting weak. Weaker. All right. I want to see what it does between here and here. This put block here. This last put block means that this was the last 20 20,000 in 20K in volume puts. That's how usually we mark that put block there. Blocks are from like 20K and up. I want to see how it may align. Yeah, okay, saw that already. Yep. We get that 15-minute demand as well. NQ should be doing the same thing. I know a lot of people like the NQ. Let's go to the NQ real quick. Have that gap there, doing the same exact thing. Actually, it broke this low. It's not doing the same thing. It's a little bit more. It looks weaker actually, which is important because if this is finding a nice downtrend down, this is pulling S&P with it. So let's do this. Going to bed early, hoping to go. Yeah, sure. Have a good night, Sid. I know you wake up early to trade the pre-market with the team and all that. So have a good one. Yeah. Have a good night. I'm gonna put here. Thank you. At the same time frame, rest of 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna put here so we can see them both. There it is. Woo! Broke it down. It broke down with some impulse. So what is the next level? 6,600. And NQ is dropping as well. So there, now we got some. Now the market's moving a bit. See, a little after 9 o'clock. You're welcome. Thanks for joining, Sid. Thanks for joining me. I didn't know if you guys were gonna join because I know it's late and you trade more stocks, but thanks for joining me. Oh yeah. Like we said, there's some targets here that it would be nice for it to come down to. All right. Just remember that if you're going short, you can go short, but just be very careful because around these levels, it might find some support. We go to the 15 on the NQ, see what we see there. There's a demand zone around here. Oh, we're tapping the demand zone on the 15-minute for NQ. So let's see. This is a dark demand zone. The darker it is on the algo, the more buyers there were in that area. So the algo now is going to show you if it's a darker green, it's because there was a lot more buying. If it's a lighter green, then it's lighter. It might be easier broken. Sellers are relentless in Q. I know. Yep. Look at it up here, Dan. 2.8. It's like almost 2 times the selling. So, and the RSI is pretty already oversold. So let's see what happens. We're in a good area for to find some a bounce. So if I go to the lower time frame again, let's go back to let's put the line here too for the 15 minute, and I'll go to the 3 minute. All right, we might find some support here. We're pretty close to. No, we still got some room to go to 24,000. Let's see what happens here. Oil doing the same. Yep. Remember, when you're in a downtrend, the trend is your friend. So if you want to scalp, the best scalps are when it pops up anywhere on the 90 MA or inside this kernel cloud. Anywhere in here, you want to take a short and see, if you get a nice move down. Sometimes a few ticks is enough in an NQ. Dan knows that. That's how Dan bought his. That's how he went on his Hawaiian vacation. What's the white line, Jameson? Yeah, nope. Can't long this now. Now it's just the white line. Trying to figure out what you mean. Here goes oil trying to make the move again. Oh yeah. Remember, this is a supply. This is a demand zone inside the 15 minutes, so it's finding some support here, but it's not too strong. Look at that; it keeps finding boom some resistance, and I mean, we could literally be like this for an hour or two or more. So we'll be here for a bit just to hang out and talk a bit. If anything happens and any news comes out, let me know, or if I find something out, I'll say it. But just to see what's doing, and then we'll continue to do this. I think you drop into 23,980 right here. Yeah, let's go. Let's see. What are you seeing? Yeah, it's still inside that demand zone. 923,980 around here. That's close to the center of the maybe 50, 60% of this demand zone. Then yeah, definitely you could find anywhere in here. So now we're getting a TD9 sequential indication that there might be some exhaustion, but it might not because the market is just weak. It's down. This is an NQ. This is what we call price discovery. It's going to keep dropping until it finds an area of support. Where people are comfortable buying. And when I say people, the bigger players. So right now, we do have some demand zone here, and it's pretty strong. And it was probably a big candle that wicked up. So it might, anywhere on here, we might find some. Might want to keep down and kind of like what Dan said. It could find some support around this 24,000, just because it's a round number there, or a little bit lower, like he said, because there's always a bit of liquidity underneath that, right? So it wants to tap that liquidity underneath and then take off. So. But seeing the volume where it was before, I think the market wants to sell down a bit and then, pop back up into balance. We'll see. And it might happen, during the day session, during the day and not overnight. There's a 15 minute. You go back to the 30, 3 minute, I mean. See the top of that demand zone is finding some support there. We'll see. So what are we watching here? We're watching for these, these highs that left here, these lower higher lows here, that they break them, right? So you want to break these areas like this. These are small little areas that you got to watch. These are small little areas that you got to watch. See, and then when they line up like this one, 2, 3, 4, you see this lines up. This is a nice area that's gonna find some resistance. This is an area where it needs to break out to make a continuation higher. So these are the things that you want to watch on the smaller time frame and watching price action. No, exactly. That is just red all the way. Because that's interesting because on the 15-minute, what on a smaller time frame like here, what you're seeing is that inside that 15-minute candle, all it's doing is creating a higher, a lower high, and then a lower high, and then lower, like that. So basically this. So here again, it could just do this and then make a lower low again, right? That's why I said that these lines here, these levels that I plot like this sometimes, that's you're just watching price action, right? Because this is a major area here. If it breaks above it, then now you know that most likely it's going to want to target now the next, little high there to the left. And then now we're breaking structure to the top side. But if not here, if this now breaks below, then most likely we'll go a little lower. So these are nice areas to go short, right? Exactly, Dan. Exactly. Yeah, you said at the same time. These are nice little areas to go short. Take it down again, and if it continues to go, great. Then you caught it at a nice area. You see, you don't have to be afraid. The trend is your friend. You don't have to be afraid. You keep trading it until it doesn't work. So if it goes down lower, and now you can hold on to it. Now if you get a nice pop back up, you get stopped out, fine, but you get stopped out green. Yeah, Dan, don't do it because you're not gonna be yeah, when you're tired like that, it's hard, You might something might happen all of a sudden, you're not gonna react fast enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just catch up, catch up. And this market is volatile. The VIX has been like the VIX closed on Friday over like 23, 24. So the VIX is high, meaning there's fear and a lot of volatility in the market. Here we go. Making a push a little lower. Yeah, the VIX was, look at that actually. The VIX was at 29, almost 30 on Friday. This is the close because it's not open right now, but this is I measure this. If anybody else, this is my little indicator that I did. I might make it available soon, but this is the max 7. That's the max 7. So during the day, you're gonna see these turn green and red, and then if they're all red, the market's gonna drop. If they're all green, then the market's on your side, right? That's why I did. And then the VIX is telling you if it's high, there's high volatility. Wow, the VIX was at 30. It's crazy. So here we go. Sure, it takes out the 6,600. Private credit. Yep. We live in a debt based society, right? Everything is credit. So if the credit market is bad, is not doing good. That's not good. Right. Right. We got 87 people watching. 89. That's cool. Dang. You got, oh, actually, there's 37 on X and 53 on YouTube. 90. I didn't know you could check this out. So, to all my X people watching on X, hello. Please share if you want. I'm gonna start doing this a little more. We're just gonna talk about futures, overall the market. If there's any interesting news out, we can talk about it, watch it together. There'll be some days where I might, trade it live with you guys, but definitely I'll call out some nice trade, some nice levels if you need them. If you want to use them, that would have been a nice 24. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What can happen inside this top of this? It'll come here, reject again, and then go lower. And then now we're maybe moving to that 24,000 to the 6,600 on ES. In a downtrend, when you see green candles sometimes come up like this, all that's doing is shaking people out, right? So if you went short here and this is going almost back to your entry, what is it? What are you mostly doing? You're getting shaken out. You're probably getting stopped out, and then it continues lower. So that's why you got to take. If you're scalping, you got to think like a scalper. You're in, you're out. So like Dan said, this would have been a good short here. It was. Look, it dropped, but then the next candle starts opening green. You could probably get out there and just take that trade there, and you're good enough with that 25 point short, like he said. But you got to think like a scalper, because a lot of people have the mindset of a scalper or of a swing trader, like I want to take it all the way back up to 20, to 24 140, right? But then they see it, kind of like go up and then down and then they get scared and they get out, right? But then they're getting shaken out by these, scalpers here, but they have a longer term view. So sometimes you might have a scalping mindset, and you react differently than a swing trader, or you have a swing kind of mindset, but then you're thinking like a scalper at the moment, so you can't, that's what gets people shaken out sometimes, you see. We were pretty oversold on the Nasdaq too, so I know, and you're good at it too. Then I wish we could trade tick, with ticks on the NQ on the trading view, but they charge you so much to trade the tick chart. Okay, here we go. This is important. You see, when you're trading price action, you're looking at these highs here now. You want it to go above, find support, and then most likely go higher. Or this is going to be the area where you will go short, right? If you find some resistance there for it to kind of like, wick back down again if it wants to go lower. ES is doing the same. And oil is trying to make a move back up. Let's put here right at the high. I'm going to put a quick alert, add an alert just in case I forget. If it breaks out of this alert, I know it did. See that, guys? Look at it wick back down again. Those are actually my favorite trades. Like when it makes a nice like strong green candle, but then it starts wicking down, you go short and you get that nice wick down again. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. When I want to sometimes scalp down, I do that. And or I'll leave it open like the dom, and then I'll watch the dom and the chart there, and then with my levels on TradingView, and then I feel a little better. So many ways to set up. We had a couple of red Sunday nights the last few weeks, but these had bounces by. Yeah, that's exact by 9:30. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it could. Anyway, it gapped down. It's pretty far down, and the volume is above us. Most of the trading volume is above us. So if we the longer it takes to move higher, the longer it takes to move higher means that the point of control is moving lower. Point of control meaning that more of the volume is staying lower. So now the point of control rate, where in profile in volume profile trading, you're gonna see that shift down. That's another sign where maybe prices are feeling more comfortable lower. So we're almost at 9:30. See what Bitcoin's doing. 65. This is the Ethereum futures that I started playing around with the other day. Most same as Ethereum. There's XRP. It's been like weird. Look at that. Look at that price action. So crazy. Just like no liquidity either. Things been sucked out. Hmm. So I'm putting these lines so you guys see where my thought process is when I'm trading. I do this sometimes. Point of control on Q on the 15 is, yeah, there you go. 24,200, so it's higher. You see? That's where volume is up here. The gold. Yeah, gold is at a cliff. It's at 5,000. 5,000 is the key level. It needs to hold that 5,000 to stay above it. Has to say 5,000. Let's put an alert there too. If it breaks below, we know. Look at that. Right back down there to that. No, this is kind of like crooked. Ooh, look at that. So that move like that? Oh, there's some liquidity coming at 9:30. At 9:30, actually it didn't happen at 9. It kind of like reacted at 9:30. Let me see something here. Yeah, it's the Tokyo session. That was interesting, huh? The way you saw that, like, volume come in a bit. That was just now then? Ah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, you're right. 9:30 CPI year over year and PPI. So they had the CPI and PPI. So CPI year over year 1.3%, forecast was 0.9 and previous 2. Okay. Interesting. So it was better. I mean higher. That was the reaction there. Yeah, that was nice. Anything else coming up? Yep, that was. Let's just show you guys this real quick. This is what so we had the CPI and PPI for China year over year. Those numbers came out just now, 9:30. Thanks, Dan. Who wants to try to break out? Yeah, now this is getting juicy. Now the swings are getting stronger. We'll see. It's finding some consolidation there in the NQ. Gotta see. Okay, here we go. Let's bust it. For I sometimes watch the one that you showed me before, Dan, and Forex Factory. So in Forex Factory, you have a little bit of everything there. It's free. We get the alerts, and I don't know. We don't get those alerts though on the Discord because we just didn't. They saved me a few times. Yeah. In futures, you need them. You need to know what's happening. I might do that. I might like in my setup in our stream thing. I might have like maybe that put up also the all the the news or the things that are coming out overnight just in case because we do gotta watch that. Yes, going back to retest this double bottom. We're near the trend liquidity. We're inside the cloud. At any moment, if this wants to go lower, this is a great area for a rejection back down. So we got to see. Turn on the volume profile. There it is. What there goes our. Why is it like that? There goes more or less the Why do I have two? Oh, point of controls up here now. So it's almost at 29. Yeah, a little higher. So it goes to show you. See, this is where most of the volume is. So if it would have stayed down here, the longer it stays down here, the more volume stays up here. And now you know that they're liking this area, right? And they're gonna keep trading in here. But if not, it'll gravitate to higher peaks of volume, right? So I that's my thought process when I'm trading. I watch a bit of everything because you want to have an edge, right? You want to see what I had mentioned. When it goes up to this area, it might find some resistance there. If it wants to make a a move lower. So I usually turn it on and off, and I just watch. So here we go again. Look right there. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at that trend line liquidity taps, and look what it does right there. Now, if you would have taken a short here, now you see if it continues to go lower, you're gonna get a hell of a trade. Look at that. I've been taking those trades more lately, like just like literally like sometimes blindly, like I see this and I'll just take a short there, and if it works, it works. If it breaks out, I'll just get out. But if it works, it's gonna work. Look at that. Just this move alone, and if it comes back down to make equal lows or anything like that, that's a great trade. That's the trade, and you're done if you want. I wish more traders embrace futures. You can trade on, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's our story, right, Dan? That's our story. Like you get, sometimes we work, we have businesses and stuff, and it's better to trade, those you trade on in your time, right? You find those times where you feel, and then you begin to learn. You begin to learn the patterns in overnight. Sometimes after 12, like I said, around 9:30, 9:30, stuff like that, and you start learning those patterns, and you can sometimes trade them if they work out. There it is. Look how great that trade would have been right there at the trend line there. Look how great that would have been. Now right here, you put a stop. You can put your stop like kind of like Dan said, just so you can maybe put it on here near that. Now let it go. Now let it go. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, because it was daytime over there. It's nice. Now this comes back. Look at what an amazing trade that would have been trading off of that trend line there. Look at that. Moving my stop. Boom. Yep. And that's actually that's showing you Delia, that's showing you there's confluence, right? So I'm showing you my thought process here. We have our stop there. If it comes down here and make an equal low, I'm bringing my stop even lower. And if I got stepped out there, great. If it breaks down that low, oh boy, we getting paid. You see, I'm looking at the Nasdaq and Q. NQ's doing the same. If NQ breaks down here, most likely it's gonna pull ES with it. Somebody right there. If it breaks down here, after it made the structure here, if it breaks down, it's going to want to go lower because it's breaking structure. And where are we on the... So it's still 672 on the SPY. But you see why I do this sometimes? Because this is short term. So, we have bigger term time frame bigger time frame demand zones and supply zones, but then this is structure here that you could do some simple things like this. Put lines. Look at tap 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 tap. So I put a line there. There's a nice little structure is forming there. And I was breaking down. Look at that trade right there. How amazing that would have been. Drop it. I'm bringing my stop down even lower. Because if there's a pop up, I want to get as much as I can get out of this trade. Or you could literally just, now that you're feeling equal lows, you could just bring it, really tight, because if it comes back up, then great. Or even just cut your trade there and you got it at the low, equal lows, and you're good to go. And you're happy with that trade. Oil looks like it wants to break out here now. It's moving. Look at this NQ underneath the line I put. Now let's see if it finds actually. We could have moved it to this little end of that wick. That was the trade right here. This rejection off of the trend line. That was a great trade there if you were taking it. Now I'm wishing I would have had my account open. the my TradingView account open. Ooh, nice with the smoking head for the night. Great stream, good luck. And good. All right, good night, Thorn. Have a good one. Look at that. Didn't hit the stop. See what it does. Hey, question. I'm sorry. Mhm. Man, look at that. Wants to break down, but somebody's holding that up. There's some buyer there holding that up. There. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, could be. So oil broke out. Well, it's breaking the double top here. Where's oil going? See what we have on a 15-minute for oil. See if we can find some targets. Because we know this has gone up to almost 150. Wow, look at this. We wouldn't have gotten stopped out. And if this drops more to 6,600, I would have probably taken my profit there at 6,600. Anything? Nope. We're free sailing with oil until there's a battle there with with the SPY and NQ. Bam, 6,600 to top. Here it can drop with an impulse or find some resistance, but there's a nice area for it to drop with an impulse down to stop, because there you will have stops. So if we see an impulse down, those are stops getting hit. Boom, look at that. Look at that. So that? Those are stops getting hit. Grabbing liquidity there. I'm taking my profit there, or if anything, mock trading. Yeah, those are stops getting hit there. Nice. Oil 113 high. There's a 15-minute demand right here. Let's see if it drops there. Oil. Look at that. Look at that. If this drops even more, what a trade that would have been. My Lord. What a trade. Look at that. From here, from the rejection all the way down. And we've been moving our stops, and our stops haven't been hit yet. Oof, beautiful. Keep going. Let's go down to 65, 571 to this 15-minute demand. All right. Let's see what it does at 2,400, 24 down, and that 23,980 that Dan mentioned. And oil is pumping. Wowzer. Bringing it down to the bottom of this wick. If we get a new candle open down, I'm going to move it down. We're at 672.47. Did this change? That's not right. Yeah, that's not right. So trading correlation or inverse correlation, if you want to see oil now, if oil now finds a big dip all of a sudden, you're gonna see most likely the spies and the NQ bounce. Let's see. We've been moving our stop and hasn't gotten hit yet. We've been trailing it down. Boom, got stopped there, I think. Just about. We could either survive this or if it breaks out a little bit, it'll stop us out. It's just me, pretending we have a stop. There it is. Boom, we would have probably got stopped out there. But look how nice that trade would have been. Look how nice that trade would have been. And we found support near 24,005. Like we said, this will shake people out. And if they want to go lower, it'll shake some people out and then just probably swing lower. 15 minutes just been red, 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 red. Little Prince. Oh, that's Luna, right? What's up, Luna? There it goes. Might reject and come down lower now. We're looking for this 15-minute demand zone here now, 6571. Let's see what the volume is telling us. Below the still volume is still higher up there. See, oil now is retracing a bit. So most likely we'll find some, support here. Once we break some major support, I would say once we break some structure to the top side, I think we want to head back up to to where volume is, because that's where the liquidity is. Unless below us, there's more volume being filled in, right? So it's definitely gapping. It's gapped down, so we have to see if it's gonna stay down here, Luna, overnight, or if it's just gonna try to take out some lows overnight, and then we have a good trade up to back to the top side, during the day. So here we go, 9 EMA, 9 EMA. We could find some resistance there that we did, and then rejection down. Wow. And tap the 9 EMA and down, 9 EMA and down. And that was some pretty fast move. Yeah. And look at oil's making a run again. Nice. So nice price action to the downside. So trading the short would have been nice, scalping it down. Mm. Yeah, Luna. Blaze is trolling me, right? Hmm. Dang. Oil's on a tear. Just keep pushing little by little, higher and higher. Wow. 115. Ooh. 24,000 in the NQ it wants. We need music the next time. Seeing some leveling off on the Nvidia AMD haven't followed the larger breaks down. Hoping they recuperate at he recuperate a bit during the 4 a.m. session. Yeah, there's a definitely overnight session is always like I said is the good time. Sometimes they make these moves because most regular traders can't trade, overnight. So they can make these moves that they want, in the overnight session, which to me is a good thing because sometimes you can they're showing their hand, right? Yeah, there it is. Look, almost at 2,400. Found some buyers there. Now we got to see if it rejects at these important levels, the 9 EMA, the 20, the kernel. I mean, there it's a bullish candle. More buyers coming in here. That's good. Going back to that 6,600. We have to find support on the 6,600 so we can go higher. There goes oil finding sellers there. So this is going to leave a supply zone here, you see, because there was some big selling there. AMD tiny volume, but a dollar gap up, pressure building. Hi Rob, not a futures trader, but everything seems to be going down. Yeah, Yeah, Jeff, it's not, you don't have to trade futures, but at least you can watch it because it's gonna tell you more or less what the market is doing and what it's gonna do, in the morning. But I like, I mean, futures will be nice. It would be nice to add to your to your trading, because anytime big moves are happening like this or news or stuff, you would want to take advantage of it, and you could take advantage of it during futures hours. You can take a big nice sell short order, and take this move down. It was nice to have an account with a prop firm. We can talk about it, maybe one of our videos we could talk about prop firms and stuff, and which one's the one I use and I like, and did it. Look at that, right back to that, close to the 90 EMA. It's riding that 90 EMA down and wick down again. The trend is your friend until it's not. The trend is your friend. Trend. The trend here, the trend here, the trend here. Sell, 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 sell. Yep. Yeah, SPY 650 could be. I think this is wrong. I gotta check. The six to me, 650 is a big target for SPY. Yep. The Nikkei 200. 10 o'clock. Some more volume coming in. Still not a reversal. We got to break structure here. Still not a reversal. This trend is still in play on the short term time frame and the long time frame definitely. Every attempt at buying gets smacked. These are those traders that are trying to trade the reversal, and they're just getting smacked every time they try to go long. They take them out. There's a lot. I mean, I used to do that a lot. You want to try to pick a bottom, right? You want to try to find the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna go along here because we're at the bottom. I can't sell at the bottom, so I'm gonna buy, and then it just gets getting sold. So you could scalp these. You could scalp it right from the 90 MA, from the kernel, from major areas on a shorter time frame. And sometimes one of these scalps could become a longer play, right? Because if this all of a sudden just drops hard, now you got your entry up here, Now you move your stop like we did over here at the oh, the trend line is not there anymore. I think this was where the trend line was. So if we would have taken this trade here like we did, and we kept, putting the stop down, look at that. That's how that works. Exactly that. Exactly. So you can try, right? You can try, and the minute it doesn't work, that's it. Don't try it again. Wait for the trend to be broken, or wait for an entry to join the trend. We're very psychologically, we're creatures, like we want to do the opposite, right? We kind of like want to know, I want to now this, I want this to happen, and I want that, and if the market is not doing it, you're just going to keep getting slapped. So if you can't beat them, join them. So a good sign would be some some support over the 6600 on the ES, and support over the, I would say, at 24,055 ish on NQ. I forgot what day last week, but we opened, dumped 5 for 600 points, rally in New York to close up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I told you that it could be that. It could be something similar, It dumps overnight and then it rallies, in the New York session. I'll show you guys something. See if I can find a picture here. Come on, I need a picture. There it is, trying to break out. Oh, thanks, Dugan. Yeah, we'll be doing this more now. So this is my first one, so I gotta get used to it and get more prepared and have some stuff that I could bring. Want to find some nice news channels we could probably have on live or something, and just depending on what the market's doing. Keeps getting rejected. Look at that. Right there. Look at right at 6600. Look at that. And right here, right at the line I put there. Look at that. Why? It's not magic. It's just technicals. What did it do before? This was resistance, support, support, support. What does support become? It becomes resistance. Now it tries. So now we mark that out on a lower time frame. And now we could trade that on a lower time frame. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it, bro. Let me see if I can. There's something I want to show y'all. Just trying to find like a diagram. Keeps rejecting. So now we're finding structure here, right? We have this resistance, but then we have here at, this is finding like a nice tight, um, range above 24,000 and 24,050 ish. Where are you? Maybe this one. Oil's trying to break out again. That looks ugly. My God, why is it so hard to find a picture of this? Anyways, so kind of like to the point where Dan was mentioning about how the New York session did something and the Asia did something else. There's something called AMD. They call it. It's a smart money concept. It's called accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Right. So, well, we're watching to see if this breaks down a little bit. Oh wow, where was that? 117 now. Beautiful. Um, Watching these futures markets also is cool because there is something that happens, right? Like there's something called, accumulation is what. So let's say they say if the overnight session accumulates, which basically just means this, it's accumulating, right? It's consolidating, it's going in a range. They say usually the next move is a manipulation move, right? Which would be the New York market, the next market over, right? So then let's say the Asian market. Now, the New York market, what does it do? It manipulates like it's going to go higher. But then the next session will be what they call the distribution phase, which now is the one that is the real move down, right? So it would be accumulation, manipulation, meaning that the real move is down. So they're manipulating on the way up, getting people to get trapped, and now they make the real move down. So that's what happens sometimes. That's why you see what kind of like what Blaze said, what Dan said, that the New York session kind of like broke out after the overnight drop. So that drop, in this case, in Dan's example, was the manipulation, right? Because it's kind of like dropping. Like today, this could be like a manipulation. Everybody's thinking that the market is going to drop, right? That the market is going to keep going down because it dropped. That's a manipulation move. Now the New York session, what can happen? It can distribute. Not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just giving you a keep it in the back of your mind. If we see it happen tomorrow, then that AMD worked out, right? That accumulation, manipulation, and distribution worked out. So we might be seeing it live, right? We might be seeing a manipulation move for then the distribution to happen. This is the NQ 4-hour low you want to see, if that's what you're asking. Oh, yeah, exactly. It was. Yeah, we got we got a new 4-hour candle about what is it? Just 3 minutes ago. So the low is around there, around 2400, 24,000, which is like, you know, that key level. Well, not 24,000, 24,000, a couple of dollars. So now we got to see if this continues down or if it's going to find some support and go back up. But yep, that was definitely. But actually, look at this, guys, what I was just talking about. This could be accumulation, right? Now, this could be the manipulation move, right? This could be the manipulation move. So then it can, in the New York session, it can do the distribution. So it could be, we could be seeing something like that play out. We just got to see. But this was definitely, accumulating for a bit. We might be seeing the manipulation move now. And Q chart is a perfect example of that 3-minute chart consolidation fake out up and then yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Yep. That's exactly what I was saying. It could be a consolidation and then, this is the manipulation move down. Wow, look at that. 118.88 oil. That 24,000 on NQ is holding. They know if they break that down, it's gonna go down. That's a major level, psychological level. There's a lot of fair value gaps being left because there's an imbalance now. Those are imbalances. So there's like all those 4-hour candles or 1-hour candles are all fair value gaps now because it's just like no, they're all like red candles. So it's that's why I say when you see that as well, those are imbalances. So they're gonna have to fill that balance. They did. They have two. Now they have two. So they got the end of. They have the daily, the daily trading. What they had before the trading. Down. Oh my lord. The daily drawdown, and now they have an end of day drawdown, and you get to you pick the one you want. So if you have the end of day drawdown now, it doesn't count until you close the to the close of day. That's where the wherever your drawdown is, that's where it is. But if it breaks the drawdown limit, then you're gonna get still blown, the account. But they did a couple good changes, yeah. The daily loss limit though are it depends on what you what account you have. I think the daily loss for the 25K was 2,500. Then the 50K is the 2,500. Oh yeah, the 50K is not 1,000. It's more. So it says, oh, and the payouts now are they're not going to deny payouts anymore because I guess they're going to have their system is going to be up to date. So everything you do, they're already going to know, and as long as they don't tell you anything, you're not when you're doing your trading days or whatever, you're not going to get denied. So it's end of drawdown, end of day drawdown, no payout denials, no MAE rule. That was no 5-to-1 risk reward rule, a built-in scaling, and 50% consistency now instead of the 30% consistency. It's automated now. Yep. But I'm a bit upset at them because I was their affiliate and they took me out with this change. They took me out, and I had told them I'm gonna start streaming again. So I'm gonna start getting more people again, and stuff. But I guess they just want the big boys, so their loss. You'll see them come back to me. Exactly. So it's kind of like upset because I was like, damn, now you're making the changes and now you're gonna take me out. Like, damn, that sucks. Yeah, it's all right, Dan. What can I say, man? We'll see. I told him, hey, I'm gonna start streaming, we and all this stuff. Like, now you're making these changes and you're gonna kick me out. Like, damn. But we got some other stuff cooking. So we're gonna blaze too. We have some stuff cooking, so we'll see what happens. It's all right. Ooh, that was a big buying there. I know too many people there to talk too much shit. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like I've been with them for the longest. I have always defended them, right, Dan? I've always defended them because we've had many come and go, and they're still around. Many have come and gone, and they're still around. That they have their issues, but every prop firm does have their crap. But I've always been with them, So and a shameless plug. I have the whoever likes the algo, what I'm using on my chart, you can get it at bbalgo.com. And then all the levels and all those other stuff we're talking about. We that's through the Hot Trades Discord. Yeah, they did. That's what was killing them. I mean, my funded futures now is gonna be my go-to maybe now. I mean, I still like Apex. I'm gonna use them, but but my funded futures I like because they're not too they're a bit higher in price, but then you don't have to pay an activation fee, right? So that's cool. Yeah, Joe. So thanks, Dan. Um, my funded futures, I'm gonna start putting some links to them too. So if you guys want to support me, um, I'm gonna put my funded futures link. I have that. I have two or three links for props. But anyways, my funded futures, Apex, uh, there's Top Step. Those are the better ones. Take Profit Trader is another good one. I would say those are the top four. And we have one coming now that we're gonna start working with, most likely. So that's coming soon, and they do something pretty cool. So we'll see. Yeah, they're not. Joe, they're not. They know what they're doing. They've been there for a long time. I said my for the futures, Take Profit Trader, Top Step, and actually, if you go to bbalgo.com, at towards the bottom, I have my links. So if you guys want to support me there, you go there, you click on those links, and you'll get and then you can get the discount that they have at the moment, and then it'll count for me. Then later on, I'm gonna put in my here, like the background. I'll put something in the stream. I longed off the 24K level for yeah. Look at that, beautiful. Yeah, that 24K level was a key level. We said it, and it was finding support. Now you just move that stop up. Then if it breaks above that line that I have there, that 24, what is this number there? 57-ish, 55-ish. If it breaks out above that, you're golden. You got pumped up, huh, Dan? You couldn't go to sleep. I'm on my tip. Okay, perfect. Right at the line. Yeah, you took it right near the line. That the top of that range. Beautiful. That's safer. Yeah, that's safer. Oh, Pavan. If I said it right, sorry. Pavan. That's the thing about this, right? Dan, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm not gonna probably trade, and then we hype you up. You see the you see the market moving, and you start getting hyped up. Like I got pissed when I saw this when we called out that nice drop at the pivot, and it just kept at the trend line, and it kept dropping. I was like, damn, that would have been an amazing trade for the night. The good thing about also futures is that sometimes you can take a nice like that. You see that? It said, I'll take a TK profit. You let's say you take you get a move like that overnight. Sometimes you don't have to trade it during the day. You know the craziness, the volatility. You might have gotten a good move overnight. Great. If the overnight you didn't get it, then you get it during the day. So futures is amazing. Yes, you can. You can trade on Sundays with futures. Futures opens up at 6 p.m. continues all day to the next day till 5 p.m. At 5, they cut for an hour, and then at 6, it begins again till Friday. Friday at 6 we close. 5, sorry, we close, and then no more trading till Sunday again. Yeah, beautiful, Dan. You see that? Look at that. Nice, beautiful. Yeah, I'll probably get myself set up for tomorrow, Tuesday, to maybe take some trades. Live here. Yeah, it is. It is a game changer. No Greeks involved with futures. Now, futures options, we got to talk about that, guys. Futures options is really interesting because futures options, when you have like these big, like, they're good for hedging your long term portfolios. They're also good for like trading like a crash in the market, maybe. You know that something's happening over the weekend or on a Sunday. You could take a futures option, a put, and then maybe take it out for a month. Take it out for a bit, and then a good contract far out, and now you just you just ride that, right? Write it down, write the trend down or up. So it's good like for a longer swing trade. I mean, people also scalp it, but we got to talk about that futures options. We can do that through uh 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 trade station is a good one. You see, so for newer traders or my these are nice little things you could do. You can have all the right. We have the algo, we have our nice supply and demand zones, EMAs and stuff. But price action also, you could do stuff like this: simple little lines where it shows you where support became resistance or resistance became support, and look what it does. It just makes a nice little look. I just plotted this line, support, now became resistance. Now until we don't break that, this is also the bottom, which is at 24,000. So we know that this is also a major area of support, which lines up with a demand zone on a bigger time frame. So those are the things that you want to do, so you can feel a bit more secure with your trade. An oil double topping here, we're breaking out for 120. Can we get a 120? Can we get a 120 for oil? This will be crazy if this thing goes back to highs that were like 150 ish. Wow, look at that. ESNQ bouncing, so it will go down. It could, yeah. They're inversely correlated at the moment, which is usually like that. Oil, metals, and stuff, they kind of like inversely correlate with equities or with the derivatives of the equity. A weekly candle, damn. Why did I do this? Look at that. Look at that supply zone on the weekly, 132. But then we got let's plot let's make some nice little. So we have these big levels here, just so we can watch them on the lower time frame. So this is usually what I do. I come here and then I take this line. Can I see the? This is weekly pivot. There we go. Now we got a nice little weekly pivots on the way up. Which will be major resistance because this is an area where it popped and then it dropped hard, came in here and then dropped. So we got some resistance on the way up. Soon, pretty soon. And Q trend line. Yeah, it's finding out some like little support there. Yeah, it's futures. Big choo choo. Actually, let's do this. Let's turn on the fibs. See what we're looking at. Where the golden pocket is. Where it was left. Let's turn on. What happened? Oh, I gotta. Oh, it's breaking that structure there. Let's do the. Oh, I have the previous day. Daily high, daily low for the fibs. How beautiful that looks. So now we have a retracement down. Is the to that 100 level. Now we're gonna hit that 78.6 level, which lines up with what? With a level that we marked here before, and then we have the golden pocket. So that golden pocket is that 61 point. What is it? The 61.8 and 65% is a very key level for it to find maybe some support or resistance. So what we have to do now is this. Find some support on this so we know that it's going to probably go higher. And then here we have to see what happens. This area here. 24.75, any liquidity, 24.75. Yeah. Well, it's right now, that's resistance, right? That's going to be resistance because this is kind of like an area of structure that it has to break. It will have to break the structure here and then break this one to really change character. A change of character will be around here, right at that 78.6 for it to like kind of like start changing that the trend, and then now you're gonna start making those little higher highs, right? I'm looking at a 5 minute. I'm gonna take this line out because definitely this. Now we could trade these fibs. You see? Oh, nice. You want me to do Blaze? I'm a smoke Blaze right now. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you Blaze. So guys, we gotta make sure that right here, right, we're gonna go like that, and then here, you see the golden pocket right there? That's the most important part, because once we break this golden pocket, then we're gonna start going up, and then we just do like that, right? Just when Blaze sees this, he's gonna kill me. He's a damn. There's a method to Blaze's madness, so we all get it. Yeah, it's looking good. We're looking good now. We got to get now. We start getting on these fibs, and we step up, right? So you could trade a rejection off of this fib level, back down, or if it breaks above it, trade it back up. Okay, so that's what these fib levels are going to act like support and resistance right now. Trust me, I wish I could. Blaze is amazing the way he's really good at explaining and teaching it to very simple. I'm very technical sometimes, and I make it too difficult. So oh damn, Luna, Luna's gonna blackmail me now. What alert was that? Or Colonel British? See, what can happen inside these levels are that it will just come down, reject, and then it can find some start finding a bottom, right? Which would be nice because this is 100% retracement. So now, if it finds there a bottom, it's the 100% level is just like the low, right? It's the swing low, but it's also showing you if that's gonna become the if that's becoming a floor. And how do you know that? By just watching it, you know, do this, right? Finding it. Oh, you are? Okay. That's you know, people that sometimes don't want to trade the S&P or the let's say like the options and all that, you can trade those, which are good too. How long we been on? Wow, almost 3 hours. I guess I'll get off at 11 because then tomorrow we gotta start trading the New York session. So here are the. Let me get this real quick. Slowing down. What's our NQ? Let's see our open up again. Here we go. oil. Doing some supply there. I'm gonna create a supply zone. Let me just open up ES real quick. Let's do the fibs here. Now that I created like a low. Did I have it? Yeah, I did. There we go. Very similar to the NQ. Here we have, remember I said these the volume levels. So these volume levels that we show here. Let me take this out too. Like the high volume puts, the lower part of the range. So like I had mentioned, I think that, if we find a floor, it's going to want to gravitate back to where there's high volume. And as a matter of fact, I'm almost sure if I turn on the profile, it'll probably match. Let's see. Actually, here it is. Wow, look at that. All the volume is up here around, because these are what they call single prints, right? It's just started dropping. So there's like all selling there. And this is the top 100. So it has to it will want to gravitate back to right above the golden pocket. Actually, see how things line up in technicals, and you don't have to have them all turned on, right? You can just turn them on and off, and there's certain things that you're going to trade off of, and you want to see those levels, and then there's things that you just want to turn on and off, and you want to see how they match up, right? So if you see here, right here, we have the a supply zone that matches with our golden pocket, right? We have that white. This is the point of control. So there's a lot of, this is like a magnet almost. So now the market is going to want to gravitate back because there's liquidity here, right? So now look at this, it's moving up higher. So at some point it's going to find some, right here was the last time there was support and then it became resistance. So this is going to be a major area of the 6612. It's going to be a nice supply zone that we have to break to then go to this level, and then we might just hold off here to then go higher, right? So that's what that's how when you're looking at this, you just want to turn on and off things. You just want to match them, and you want to have confluence. So if I was in a long, right? If I went in a long down here and I'm swinging this up, now I know that where I'm going to find some resistance. I'm going to find some resistance around here, right? Obviously here, which will be my bounce, my level for it to bounce. So those are the levels that you want to do. You want to anticipate what it's going to do. So then you don't have to be thinking much, right? Or you could just put a profit target there, and take that profit, kind of like what Dan did earlier. He knew that he was going to hit resistance, let's say here, or at 6,600, or in the NQ, sorry. So he took it at that level, that 24,050, I think it was, or 70. So he took it there because he knew he was going to find resistance there. And he was good with the profit as well. So that's it. Can't overcomplicate it. It's important to have targets, profit loss, stop losses, areas where you believe you're going to, and then have, anticipate those areas. Then I'll come again and I'll just turn it off for now. And a lot of things are lining up. See, if you don't want to take this long yet, and you want to wait for it to get over above the golden pocket, and then find some support here, then here will be a good area for you to want to take that long, right? Now back up again. So it's just having a plan. These fib levels changed the game for me in intraday trading too. Never hit that 15-minute demand. I mean, it could still, it could come here and then make a move down. It's going to be key here. The 78.6 level is going to be key, which lines up with what? It's a supply zone at 6607, 75. Here we go again, retesting that 6600. If we find support on the 6600, that's good news. 12 minutes left to view up. What do you trade, Pavan? You trade the NQ, ES. What do you like trading? Both. Nice. Okay. My love is the ES, obviously, and NQ. I've been loving gold. It's just so wild, you know. But I've been learning to trade it. I've been learning to trade gold. The price action in gold. So gold is nice. Maybe when starts getting, once I start getting the gist of this, we can probably have some nights where we just look at gold or something, and then other nights where we could look at ES or NQ. But gold is pretty nice. It's just that it's wild, you know. I used to love oil too. I don't know if Dan remembers. I used to when I started trading oil, I liked it as well because oil in the beginning it was like when you trade, like obviously if you guys are, if you guys have more experience trading, what you want is you want to have a move, right? You want to have a continuation in the move, and that's what's great, And in gold, and oil sometimes there was a continuation in the move, it would move like it was nice because it would just keep going. And gold is similar. Mm. Oh, really? Silver? Yeah. Yeah, and I think you would trade it good. I think I told you that then because it's very similar to the NQ, like in the sense of the swings, but it's harder. And since they're such smaller, the cents per move, like the ticks per move. So that's why if it moves only 5 or 20 cents, 10 cents is it's a big move. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you learn that you learn, what, I'm not trading it. When it's volatile like that, hell no, I'm not doing it. Then other times when I see it moving nice, I'll say, okay, this is the price action I like, let's do it. And there, like, you'll literally take some good money out of the market and fast. Yeah. Yeah, micros will move and you'll be like up $300 with a small move too, and micros. BTC broke a supply zone that says here on the algo. This one, I guess. BTC wants to break out of that 200. That's the 5 minute. I usually put this in 15. This isn't stupid. Look at this. I'm getting so pissed off at freaking crypto. See, near that 71 8.6 fib, near that 6600 on the ES. So I'm gonna find here some struggling. You know what's good to trade too? That's nice. Dan, is the YM, which is the Dow. It's pretty cool too. Sometimes, you know what I used to do? I used to trade the Dow. You know how you can't trade, like, let's say like they don't want you on and the prop firms to kind of trade, like, trade one short and the other one long. With the Dow, I would do it since they're kind of like different. I would trade the Dow sometimes, one way, and the ES another way. The Dow was nice. And if I was wrong, maybe sometimes on one, I would just cut it and continue with the Dow. No hedging. Yep. Okay. Oil now is starting to drop a bit. So this means that the buying might start continuing in the ESN and the NQ. I'm gonna go back to retest this double top where I have the line or breakdown. And if it breaks down, makes sense because then this market will continue higher than to go back to where we said it was going to go. Show us an AS. On what time frame? Dania. Damn, 30-second. We got another 30-second trader, Dan. You guys trade those super fast. Yeah, I mean, on just the 5 minute, but I can see what you're seeing on the lower time frame is pretty much this. Something like that, and now you have it. That's good. That's good. My entry is in the 33 minute, and I look at the 1 hour. I've been looking at the 1 hour a lot lately and 4 minute, and I just jump in between the 15 minutes sometimes too. That's actually my setup is usually this, right? So I have these three charts, and I'll have my 4 hour here or my 1 hour here. I will have my 15 minute here, and then at the bottom will be my entry, right? So it will be the 3 minute chart for me. And then there I take my chart and I'm looking at it. That's what I usually do. So you're a scalper, definitely. How long you been trading, Daniel? This is Lynn. I wish Lynn comes. We gotta tell her that we're starting to do futures. We're hitting this nice fib level here. Oil. Let's see if we find some support here where it broke out of, and that would be a good sign for oil. If not, then I'm gonna probably go a little down and retrace, which is good for equities. Nice. This is your first time seeing hot trades? Oh, Dan, look at you. Yeah, that's a good level. That's 78.6 first time here. Nice. Welcome. Welcome. It's my first time doing a bit of futures in the evenings because we're part of the hot trades team, and Blaze usually streams every day stocks, more momentum stocks, and I usually do futures from the Discord. So we're starting to do this in the evenings now. Yeah, yeah. If oil drops more, then That would be a, or I mean, if it finds support here and it bounces, then that would be a good short. I mean, it's already, if you took it at 24,100, you're already green. Yeah, look at that. Nice. Yeah. Don't forget Laura, Queen of the. Yeah, dang, Laura. Wait, who's gold then? Who are you, Goldhound? You have to be somebody that we know from the past. You just have a different name, right? Dang. Perfect trade there, Dan. See, these are levels. So these are called these levels here, like these levels in fibs. What makes them nice, or any level that you see me plot, are always going to be what I call reactionary zones, right? They're going to be a nice area of either support or resistance, right? So if you're below it, it's going to be resistance, and it's always when you're trading. Ah, nice, the 007. So when you're trading these types of levels, the first touches are very important because that's where you might get the first reaction, and then you're in and out. If you think about it too long, you're gonna lose it. Like let's say this drops like this, now it comes down like that, and you thought about it, you took too long. Now it pops back up, and you're trying to get back in long short again. You might get smacked because now it already made the move, found support, and goes. So you have to make those decisions, and you gotta live with it. Put your tight stop and go for it. Dan took the 2100, the 24,100 trade here. It dropped here. Let's say he puts his stop at break even. He's green. He's still green here. You see? Now this continues to go down. Now you're just moving that stop down. Remember we had said earlier this might find resistance here and then just come back down here and chop it up there or break out. So that first touch of these levels are important. Volume is still normal, I would say. I haven't seen any relative volume spiking or anything like that. So yeah. Sorry, somebody's writing to me real quick. Well, there's that 200 there too. That 200 is key. It tapped there, and it's finding some support. So we got to see what happens. That 6,600 is key. And the 2,400 on the Nasdaq. And thank you. See what I mentioned? That first tap. If you don't take that trade on the first one, you try to take it on the second one. Look what's happening. See? So you got to take those trades on the first one. It's always going to be that first reaction, right? And then you take that scalp and you're done. If it doesn't continue down, then you get out. It would have been stopped exactly then. Yep. But even putting that order there at 24,100 and just letting it drop like that, that would have been a good trade anyway. Just that small move. These are areas where you want to see a strong spike up because that strong spike up is usually signaling stops getting hit. and that's why you got a big spike, because this is an area where it's gonna start changing character, right? Because this was uh, a lower high, a lower high, and then lower low, but now it's gonna break this one here, and it'll change character here, and now we got to break structure to the top side. So that's why these areas here, sometimes you see them break out with an impulse, because they got to put in some bigger orders in, get it in there, and then stop those people going short. And oil found support more or less where it broke out of, which is technically speaking, right? You want to break that double top, break that resistance, that becomes support. So now if this becomes support, oil is gonna wanna consolidate. Yeah, especially in NQ, you wanna put it at break even. Let's look at the 1 hour. Let's do this. Let's sync time, right? So now our charts, when I go to 1 hour, they go to 1 hour. And then let's see what it's doing. Okay. 1 hour, 1 hour. So what I'm looking for on the 1 hour is, the area where I might want to break down to create new lows, right? A rejection of this downtrend, because this downtrend is still very much live. Now this here as well. Actually, my NQ didn't change to 1 hour. Oh, there you go. So that's what we want to watch, right? We want to see if this starts breaking this, like we said, it has to break above this so we can start moving higher. But this downtrend is still very much alive. So we got to watch that on those higher time frames. Why isn't what do we have? Rob, good first stream. Looking forward to more in the future. Looks like you're going to be up all night. No, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna cut it soon. I think this is a good start. We had a couple good entries that we kind of like spoke about. So yeah, price action got better. Howdy, I'm new to your channel. What indicator is that with the golden pocket? Is that like an auto flip? So that's it's the Bober algo. I created it a couple years ago, and yeah, that's actually a new feature that I added to it. So you could like intraday, you could use it for like intraday trading, or you could even move it out to a week. So you can plot it to different. So if you go here, the fib, right? So if let's say I look at a bigger time frame. Let's say I'm looking at the 4 hour. I can just go, okay, show me the the previous day high and the low, if it was higher up or lower, or show me the previous week or even the month, and then I can put those fib levels and then from there trade them, right? And the golden pocket has been powerful trading, like even momentum trading during the day, like Blaze trades the momentum and it makes a high, and when it starts retracing, it always kind of like finds some liquidity near that golden pocket. It's pretty powerful. All right, good night, Dan. Definitely, man. Thanks for joining. Honestly, thanks everybody for joining and not leaving me here alone. Crazy thinking. Incoming days, yes, will most likely be heading to 61. It could very well. I mean, it could very well. We have to like we have to see the overall, what the market, oil and what the war and all these things are going to do, and then find those levels. It could very well do it. We just have to, we got to find those major levels that it can break, like that 6,500 level, 66 that we saw. It found some support, and then and there, we have to see those things first. What comes first? If this, then that. If not, then what? Right? So if this happens, then that is going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then what is going to happen? And you want to find those levels on a chart where it's going to say, okay, if this happens, if it comes here, then it's breaking a 200 on a 200 EMA on a major time, like a 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, or 1 day. Then we know that we're going lower or higher. You know what I mean? And then those intraday levels, like the fibs and all that, is where you can get it. You could trade off of, right? Because what you want to find is targets. Again, you can get it at bbalgo.com. And then in the YouTube channel, you could also join the Discord, which we have. We're in there. We have so many channels. We have, we're focused on education. We want to help traders. We want to help traders, not just, we don't do just like, oh yeah, buy here, sell there, call outs, none of that stuff. We want to teach you, technical analysis, so you can, find an edge in the market, with the tools that we have, and we have bots and stuff that will call out, what's happening at the moment, where there's momentum, where there's not. I give options levels, which allow you to understand where there's areas where the price might, head to. Like here, like I said earlier, keep this in the back of your mind. I said earlier, based on what volume did previously, these are the levels here, right? This was a high volume puts were at 6,700. We're below that. The lower part of the range of the high volume range in the S&P 500 futures is 6730, and the upper is 6850. So what do we see most of the time? That when we're below this, it's going to want to gravitate back to where there's high volume, unless this shifts down because there's so much volume that's being produced down here, right? So that's where we have to see overnight what's going to happen. But if overnight this breaks above, it gets back in the gap or something, I have a strong feeling that, or if it just consolidates down here, I have a strong feeling maybe that the New York market might distribute this back up. Unless some crazy news happens, right? And I haven't seen if there's any news tomorrow. So Monday we have no red folder news. So it's going to be pretty quiet tomorrow. Let me filter this by the US. Yeah. So the major news day this week will be Wednesday. So Wednesday, March 11th, we have at 8:30, we have core CPI, CPI, and month over month and year over year. And then we have some Fed knuckleheads speaking as always. Unemployment claims on Thursday. And Friday, we got core PCE and preliminary GDP. So, and Jolt's job opening. So yeah, we have a busy week in news as well. Wednesday will kind of probably be the uh what's gonna tell us, right, if this wants to continue normal. If the news, I guess, in Iran and everything stays normal or gets better, then they'll focus on the this news, right? The core CPI, where's inflation? And remember, inflation starts getting affected by oil. The higher the oil prices are, gas goes up. Everybody needs to, spend more money on gas. Companies need to spend more money on shipping and everything. They pass that on to the consumer. So, oil, the higher the oil stays, or the longer the oil stays higher, that's going to affect inflation. So we need to get oil down, believe it or not. So I think with that being said, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. We're at 11. Thanks for joining. Honestly, I'm happy I wasn't left alone. I'm heading. Oh, nice. Okay. Good night, Nania. Yeah, me too. So have a good night, everyone. We'll get back at this week again. I'm most likely gonna try tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesdays I won't be, and then most likely Thursday. So I'll send we'll send an alert before and stuff, and yeah, subscribe please. So and put the alert, so when I send out the alert that we're gonna go live, you guys can get it. All right. And again, if you want the algo, you can get it at bbalgo.com. And please join Discord if you want there, and then we can talk during the day as well. So thanks for joining again, and have a good night, guys. Bye. You're welcome, Hyman. You're welcome.